No, he does not invent Arabic numerals. What is this guy talking about? Welcome back to the Physics Almanac. Today I'm going to be reacting to another physics video. This one's called Al-Khwarizmi, the father of algebra, with Dr. Roy Casagranda. Casagranda. That's weird. Casagranda. It's almost like Casagrande in Spanish, but with an A. Interesting last name. I wonder how that came about. Well, that's neither here nor there. I don't know who that is. Doctor, he's a PhD in, is he a physicist? If he's in the media and is a physicist, I probably would have heard of him, so I don't know who he is. Maybe he's not a physicist, I have no idea. So we're gonna find out. As usual, please take a second to like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's check out Dr. Roy Casagranda and al-Khwarizmi, the father of algebra.
A guy named al-Khwarizmi, a Persian.
Al-Khwarizmi. I've never heard it pronounced that way. I always said al-Khwarizmi. It's like Khwarizmi. The KH goes Kh. He's Persian. He's Persian. He's not from the Persian Empire, I would like to say. He's from Khwarazm, which is in modern-day Uzbekistan mainly, and Turkmenistan. He's from these city-states of the Silk Road city-states in Central Asia, in the region we call today Transoxiana. I have a whole video on the influence of Transoxiana and these city-states on modern-day science, mathematics, and astronomy. If you're interested in that, it's sort of a lost civilization that most people don't know about. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, you can check out that video. I'll leave a link up here in the video in top right corner. So he is Persian because he speaks a Persianate. Is that the word? Persianate language? It's Indo-Aryan language, but he's not Persian in the sense as being from what we think of the Persian Empire, large Persian empires that fought with the Greeks.
A Muslim Persian in the Arab Empire.
Right, he's under Arab rule.
Decides to start.
Okay, I've actually seen this guy, like on other shorts. I don't know. I don't think he's a physicist. Maybe he's a historian, but I'm not sure. But I think he does like history. Every video I've seen of him is somehow related to history, but I don't actually know what his qualifications are. If you know, let me know in the comments.
Focusing heavily on Hindu mathematics. Al-Khwarizmi.
Let me clarify something. It's not that he starts focusing on Hindu mathematics. That entire Transoxiana Silk Road city-states culture had already been using Hindu mathematics since before the Arabs even got there, for a few hundred years already. We have, at least my understanding is from the research I did, which is mainly based on a book called Lost Enlightenment. I highly recommend it. It is by a historian and archaeologist who's focused on that region of the world. And they had already been using Hindu mathematics for centuries before the Arabs got there. So it's not like he started focusing on them. He introduced them, you could say, to the Arab world, to the Arab Empire, but his entire culture had already been using them for hundreds of years.
And algebra and Arabic numerals.
Right, he's credited as inventing.
The next time
no, he does not invent Arabic numerals. What is this guy talking about? They're Hindu numerals. They're from India. He doesn't invent them. His culture had adopted them long before he was born, and he introduces them to the Arabs. The reason we think it's new is because when the Arabs first arrived, it was the Umayyad dynasty, and they conquered that region, and they burned all their books and libraries. And so we had no record of them. And then it was discovered. We found a few records in the 20th century, and this archaeologists realized there was this whole culture that was very scientifically and mathematically advanced and literate. It seems like they were fully literate. And they had adopted Hindu, and they knew about, not just Hindu or Indian numerals, but it's the Silk Road, so they're like a crossroad of cultures. So they knew about the Greeks, they knew about what the Persians were doing, they knew what the Chinese were doing. So they kind of mixed all this stuff together. In fact, they got paper from the Chinese, and they were making paper on their own, and they introduced paper to the Arabs, which then spread all around the world because the Arab Empire at that point went from India all the way to Portugal, or including Portugal, so all the way to the Atlantic.
Doing math, remember to thank al-Khwarizmi that you're not using an abacus to do Roman numerals, which
that
are
would be a
impossible.
nightmare.
Really try.
Totally impossible.
Set up Roman numerals, put a minus sign under it, and try and subtract Roman numerals from Roman numerals. You'll tear your hair out. Forget multiplication and division.
Dude, try doing calculus. Yeah, no way. Even subtraction and addition is a nightmare. Anything beyond that, just forget it. So, I actually... Sorry, I had to cut. I had a little mishap with my camera, but I was going to say, I actually ranked, I have a video on the top 10 most influential physicists. If you want to call, I don't know if you can call him a physicist, he's more like a polymath, but he did work on astronomy and stuff. So I'm going to put him in that category, but I have a video on the top 10 most influential physicists, meaning the ones that affected our everyday lives the most, and I ranked him as number 2, so only behind Isaac Newton. So yeah, this guy's a big deal, and you should definitely thank him for many things that we have today.
Al-Khwarizmi creates a math system that you can work on. He's so advanced.
He is credited with inventing algebra based off of Indian precursors. It's not like he comes out of nowhere. It's all based off of Indian mathematics. I don't know if creates is really... It makes it sound like he just came up with this out of the blue, but he doesn't. He's got a culture that had been doing Indian mathematics for a while, and he builds upon that greatly and invents this algorithmic way of doing algebra. So he's credited with the invention of algebra, even though the precursors of algebra are there in Indian mathematics. But then like the full system, this algorithmic system, is credited to him. And he's very advanced for his time. He becomes the head astronomer in Baghdad. So he's a big deal. Absolutely. I agree with him on that.
He invents algorithms.
Right.
1,200 years ago.
Comes from his name.
In fact, algorithm was the Roman attempt to say his name.
Right. They called him al-Khwarizmi. We're back to the beginning. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with this guy in like philosophy. I would say that al-Khwarizmi was a big deal. I'm not sure I agree with all of the way he presents this as like he just invented all this stuff. He certainly did not invent Arabic numerals. He introduced the Hindu numerals to the Arabs. And then the Arabs changed, at least in the western half of the country, or western half of the empire, they changed the symbols, which were then passed on to Europeans. So those symbols are Arabic in the sense that the physical symbols we used come from the Arabs, but the system comes from India. And it wasn't invented by al-Khwarizmi. Yeah. All right. So, yeah. Al-Khwarizmi is a big deal. If you want to know about him, you can check out my video on this lost civilization from Transoxiana, and let me know what you think. If you agree with me or if you agree with him. I mean, we kind of agreed in general, but there are some points I disagree with him about. And if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to support the channel, you can go to my Ko-fi page. There should be a link showing up around now on your screen. You can also find it in the video description. Be sure to like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified for future physics-related videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.